Scrappy people, Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a layout, a 12 by 12 layout using the new Cocoa Daisy Nordic Nights collection. It is the January collection, so as of this video, I don't think it has released yet, so this is a nice little sneak peek. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to use the 12 by 12 paper add-on, and I'm going to create a fun semi-quilted look. It's not really quilted, but what I'm going to do is cut up all of these papers into 3 by 3 squares, and then I'm going to cut them along the diagonal so that they end up being triangles. So I'm just cutting a bunch all at once here, cutting a 3-inch strip off of each of these papers, and I've chosen these papers specifically to have both light and dark tones, white and, it's not black, but it's like a really deep navy blue, so that there is a lot of fun contrast on the page. And then what I want to do is arrange them. I'm going to put them on a white background. So I am just making sure that I keep them all right side up, because some of these patterns on the back I do not want to use. So I'm just going to distribute them evenly throughout the page, making sure that I only cut as many as I need. I feel like I feel like there's going to be a lot of extra triangles here, but there weren't too many. But I didn't know with these 3 by 3 squares, I felt like I could probably only get 3 rows in, and that's what I was able to get in. So I'm not cutting all of the squares. I'm going to put aside a couple of each pattern, and I will come back to them if I need them. So I'm just kind of sorting them here so that I know how many of each pattern I have, since I cut them all together. They're not grouped by the same pattern. So I put some aside, and then I'm going to cut out these triangles. And I am using my paper trimmer just because I didn't feel like my scissors were quite long enough to get along that hypotenuse, so I figured I might as well just use my paper trimmer and align corner to corner on the guide on my paper trimmer. Okay, so now I have all of these cut out, and I'm going to start laying them out on my page, and then decide what pattern, I guess, what color pattern I want here. So I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to start putting them down on the page. And I just kind of go in the order that I have them on my desk at first. And then when I go ahead and put down this blue one, or start to put down this blue one that I started with, because now I'm repeating the pattern, I didn't like the way that those two interacted together. So I wanted the navy blue to be underneath there, or in between those two papers that sort of read the same color blue when you kind of let your eyes unfocus, just to have that nice little difference of contrast in there. Now I'm laying them all out in order, and I realize when I get to the end here that I am gonna need another triangle. So trying to follow my own pattern, which apparently has stumped me. I need one more triangle, of course I do. So I'm trying to figure out which pattern it is, and it's going to be this sort of mosaic pattern. And there we go. So now I'm going to go off camera, and I'm going to actually stitch these all down with my sewing machine. And I used some wonky stitching and some straight stitching because I wanted it to really have an impact. And I've pulled out a bunch of embellishments from the scrapbook kit and a couple of journaling cards as well. This is a photo of me being cozy in the winter, because I felt like this, with this sort of quilted-ish background and the theme of the collection, felt really cozy to me. But I definitely felt that that photo needed some delineation from the background, since it's so many lighter shades of gray. It felt like it was just sort of blending in. So I'm going to mat it on this navy blue cardstock that matches the collection, and I think that makes it stand out from the background a little bit better. Okay, so I really want the emphasis and impact of this layout to be the background. That's why I put so much work into it. So I'm actually not going to embellish too much. I am auditioning a bunch of things that I think might work, but I kind of need to lay everything down before I decide on embellishments anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and rifle through all these things, and then I'm going to pull it all off and rearrange these cards, because I didn't feel like they were working with that spacing in between the photo and the cards itself, or the cards themselves. There was like this weird awkward space. Maybe I'll do that. Slow down. No, I like the impact of the navy. But how do I make these work across the page? Not like that. I'm not enjoying this layout. So I'm thinking I need to add something to the top of that other journaling card. So I'm gonna use actually this rub on here, this little fox that's sleeping, and I'm gonna add it to the top of that journaling card. Since I don't need more sentiment on this page, I have a lot of words to work with. I felt like this little cozy fox would be perfect for the top of that journaling card instead. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it out and put it just right in the top corner. And I'm going to leave some space for that everyday, ordinary life sentiment that I think I want to overlap the card and probably the photo as well, just to tie the two together and to get some nice overlapping bits so that it looks cohesive. I have a lot of white space, I guess what you would call trapped white space between all of those triangles, and while that is part of the design, it leads or lends itself to be easy to have some awkward spacing in between the photos and the journaling cards and all of that. So I want to make sure that everything overlaps real nicely to sort of mitigate that trapped white space. I'm still trying to overlap this sentiment card with the journaling card over here. I'm just struggling a little bit with where I want everything to go. It's kind of making me annoyed. Sometimes when you start background first, it's hard. But I decided to separate it and instead center my photo in between the two cards, and I think that that works out a lot better. It also separates the two word bit sentiments and makes it so that all the words aren't on one side, you know. So now I'm going to start sticking things down, and it's going to go real quickly from here because, like I said, I really want the focus of the embellishment to be on the background paper. So I'm not going to add a lot to this page. I'm just going to add a couple of sentiments and call it good. But first, let's put everything down. Ooh, yep, I like it like that. Perfect. I'm going to add this little bit here. Maybe if I can find a place for it. And then I think that the last thing that I'm going to add, since I don't really want to add another word, obviously I couldn't find a place for that, is some of these cute puffy snowflakes. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. There is an affiliate link to Cocoa Daisy in the description box below if you are interested in starting a subscription. And I will see you next time. Thank you.